This is Buadu TV, truth and integrity.
Now it was a for emo bibi akwaba na ye scientist mo kv teller na kache na no krenie omamra ho na se na wesi atete ama Koku Anyidoho no efata no odin Koku need justice for Koku Anyidoho okay kv teller no ya watiti bi ama no na wasantiti bi ama Ghana for Samu sore no man ko yi meka na masoma no meka na mu twamadapa mo an metra sa wo hwo na nado ne ba omia de abagana no Kevin Taylor say o ka ho asem na wa dum TV no ntie dum TV no afen so nim say 16 good years ni a ye jeli Tsatsu Tsikata yes manifest papa 16 good years ni a ye jeli no kufwa penso na now Kevin Taylor achechemu the nam sunti e jeli Tsatsu Tsikata any kwaya the first so ejano eyi ni free prison any how de baye na sisi a yesan ede ato force and ye batapata ho yesan eji sanchemu no efe Kevin Taylor wa fire ye take Kevin Taylor
NPP ni message. And I've said this over and over and over. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia message any day, and we keep asking. Bawumia message no any day. Bawumia dey no so be ama Ghana for. Bawumia say a day idea for no wo. A day pan or so or say all the 33 policies about a day policy be na aboa ma tomatoes boa form. These are simple questions we need to be asking. Policies as actually saying a day any policy. Bawumia ba Ghana politics and MP before we Jimmy Omonkin kind mubi. They don't understand. Me say 33 policies about Bawumia so or introduce here no. Etumi ama engo boaba form on to me and the policy the policy a mental slavery. Say o policy entumi ama tomatoes bo anko for ma na enye policy. Say bio junky ideas and awo. Say o policy no entumi ama den entumi ama petro ama for ma na enye policy a junky idea. Me say so we say o policy 33 no ni nyina at the end of today ayete ende Ghana for omuko dwaso no omuko to aduane board den dia enye policy a junky idea. Send we say o the policy 33 aba na sa 33 policies no entumi si one regional hospital na a junky idea. Me say send so also the policies aba na ende cocoa Ghana cocoa ekuafo entumi nya fertilizer free na ende yeko Ivory Coast ene ye cocoa e komomo na MPP for area cocoa aba na yetia na ye import cocoa free aba efra brochi say ye medua na ye den ye junky idea enye policy. Send so also the policies aba na inflation at this point is over 23 na a junky idea enye policy. See Tigara ha na say and the interest rate is over 30%. Na say also the policy aba a dear the tumi chisan intimancy sanhwe a junky idea enye policy. Yetigana krum ha and as we live in this nation yetia national health insurance scheme enye djuma amount for hospital mu nyedru also the policy aba a na policy de be no enye policy a junky idea. Policy out there about and the oko corruption perception index mo a aban bi aba so mo na ketahye agi intini e o ma ban mu into policy no e be fight corruption into man fight corruption a junky idea. So the 33 policies now also they are they are all junky ideas. They did not change the lives of Ghanaians positively. You could not build roads, you could not build schools, you could not build health facilities, you could not change the economy of this nation. So the 33 policies about na $3.8 and the dollar is 60 na a junky idea and your policies you are being foolish. So also all the new policies about Ghana na obano na unemployment rate baby da not today it has skyrocketed. It means it wasn't a policy, it was a junky idea. Moya moi. Ma simplify the campaign na mamo. Mrs. Okay. I've simplified your foolish campaign for you. Mrs. Take care of some people here on YouTube and all that. You guys take care of them. Don't delete, don't block anybody. Mute them. Mute. Sebio kwabre fo amunti mute ase. Yese ye ka kasabo ahye. Ye mute no ai. Ne brofo no mon kankan kakra. Ye ka se ye ka kasabo ahye. Cha se ye mute. Intimisi mitim no mema mo entia obi an ye obi an frim. Omonka amanfo kasabo a enhye. Enti policy a entimi ase san wabrabo. So policies about na send there ehia wo chen first na a junky idea enya policy. Send about me so the policy 33 aba now that want Ghana ha na untimi tua lighter o kania a junky idea. Me say and there Baumia any MPP say 8 years the policy aba na say and there eti e kwan papa ba akumpo muntumi nye a junky idea enya policy. Say and there oti ha na say obi catch say NPP for the policy aba MPP for the policy aba na policy no entumi answer sanwa brabo uye Koku Anyidoho a Ghana sebio uye teacher ni uye nurse ni uye doctor uye abayadwumani na wakotua entumi nkoso oho kira na ekiro petrukun na enye policy a junky idea nti so obi begina wonim se Baumia the policy bia aba musa ne se policy no e de na bo amabrabo policy no de na sesa mebra Baumia ka say obema constituency bia $1 million per constituency bia ebesi ne obi anya kobo a junky a statement.
He said he's gonna do this. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't tell him he's gonna shave Jesus Christ's beard.
But you might think say Asaba Kofi you can say Baumia who Ghana for so Jimmy no or stupid no. It's funny. It's not. He might be laughing time and hour, but he was speaking from a perspective as somebody onya kora we study Ghana politics no and we study politicians over the time we who say Baumia who Ghana for said they are stupid, so he keeps giving them foolishness. And Kofi was basically telling you people, because without due respect, so obi was different perspective. So obi tu kwan kakra na so onye Jimmy for na so beso obi na adwemu a or try to get different perspective or try to open their horizon adwenim into debiano Ottawa, I know Busan whole questions. And Kofi has tasted Ghana politics and he has tasted the American politics or the other part of politics, Ebia in Caribbean or Europe. And was studied by Baumia who said Ghana for Jimmy. Into Brofano can also hear. Kwesi Pratt, me catch the Baumia, the Oyano, Onim say Ghana for Jimmy. The more all the Jimmy ni video mo na omuniji, into na olodu omo, into the bia or download the me. Yes, or upload yes, download Jimmy no. Into Kofi Asema Rokano. It is not that Kofi does not know what he's saying. Kofi knows exactly what he's saying. He's making you understand, say, this is what Baumia is doing because the people are foolish. And which people are the foolish ones? Let me say a simple question. The people who are foolish, at the end of the day, they be a sorry. Yes, and the Ubusa Ghana for say when the tuma Baumia ni Kufuor obi because enyo mo the tuma and obi anto ama MPP and the Ubusa Ghana ni bia obi share bia say otuma MPP obi because da abi man to ama MPP and so you conform nam Ghana tuma MPP bia enka problem no ho obi an cause problem ni bi ye ni nipa mo betuma MPP obi say wanto ama Kufuor obi say wanto ama Baumia enti ende nam Ghana ho na akwa we or upload Jimmy and a Ghana for the so download Jimmy no into we have done better no upload it. Oh, we have done better social security, we have done better into as some now say otna my kati asia no yenka and or upload Jimmy and yes we download it. You download Jimmy no into Baumia de bia upload it bebre Baumia nya opportunity bia no upload Jimmy egu system nim na e Jimmy for no mo emu no mo download it. Into to be got obi to say yes miracles abuaje not TV so or so UGMs no e Kufuor the see Baumia upload and what download into Jimmy no cost and what download about form into at this point no majority of these people deliberately they are foolish. Na I hear it is go to Ghana for how MPP how they think as some juni ko echire. We as a nation, we consume foolishness too much. Every day, you consume Jimmy to say vitamins. Baumia upload near consume near download it. And tell me, Baumia ko Ghana hanging Asia. What is so Kagalam say once? No. When you say galamsey koso, people with short memories. Sanka ya adwene any for man ka jiminity say Koku Anyidoho and kende Ghana obi beti Koku Anyidoho. We have short memories. We are foolish. Anytime guys at school nankasa no formal education no, I think it's enye too good in my head. Your course school kakra bia na ejimi. You're very short memory. Like you just say in confirm, yeah, you're smart. You Jimmy. Because I did boy to me see refi and nobody's talking about galamsey in Ghana. We are saying there's no single river in Ghana clean and they kufu and baomia. And these people, I am telling you, they are not going to solve this problem. And they are him for baomia be jina omu nyina enim obi ani wotumi busa baomia say na yensuo na say ne ahemfo etete baomia nim to say school nkwara. And ye gada omo and ye mo sika. And the ahemfo na dane business. And omo de Ghana for business. And the insame here no baomia nanti Ghana ha nyina ohini bia ntumi mbusa baomia say Mr. President oba na dollar near 3.8 and the 16 adan Indiana ekosi ohini bia ntumi mbusa sofu bia baako pe young man be the busa sa question about baomia to papa so majority of the people about baomia so share omo nyina wo Ghana they could not ask one sensible question. I'm telling you. And which are the sensible questions? And then the ebusa no questions and answer woman and then they are not asking sensible question. They are questions. The omo ya say baomia ba yambom pa yama na wo sofo a wote Ghana and the auto petro the auto no. So wo tire won sabom abom pa yama baomia no nyansa be na wo utrim busa nipa no. Because what sorry for now di omochi enim no omutua to eto no de na de aye mama sa jimi we ananti Ghana ha nyina 16 regions obi amusa ne say yensuo no your water bodies no insuo na ye benom na asai no chema wuntumi na odi wochi na what say Ghana nsuo nyina no what are you doing about it? Nobody cares. Na ono na mka je say yema ahemfutumi a ombetumi asemo nkofo wo e de ahemfie kwase asem yema ahemfutumi na woni asase to so oyo ohene na woni asase to so a tumi no kofa no wen. If you are a chief and you don't have better land, etumi so eduaba yetumi efu so eyekua so edidi wo so a ehe na akodi hene no wegimi. We need to be asking the relevant questions and stop the foolishness in Ghana. Na baomia na nam Ghana ahemfo me ba be mamo den and ahemfo ye be mamo powers a odi bedi wan so ensu a wo no monye ubewu wo so pe power. Jimmy brutal. Nobody could, no chief, no pastor. Penyini baomia nkofo ehia mo original capitals in the whole nation. Penyini bi antman kancha baomia say hey oba na misika say na da ho and the sika na hye. Ye kura etia na adwuma nkofo ye ni enadwuma na say. Dollar net say motete one na mo stress no o Jimmy no ho. Nationwide, this guy fooling himself. All because edankofo bi trimu say eni say e ba NDC ba power. And so ta kwasi ampe yi no to a embe say eni say NDC ba power no. Ofe ne se a NDC hospital kwa kodem otwen wagimi. John Kuma bedi finance minister. John Kuma a home minister ne regional or team a Ashanti region or this year. We got or the baho na me fan ko hin. Abo so na ntakra so. John Kuma abrantie Ashanti region ofri. Ejuso yare born wo Ashanti region yenya hospital bia fanantum ye de na ba nkran ye ka so tie kurase na bofu ye ka so tie wure ma na bofu ye ka so tie kurase na wakoma ba onti ase medidi ohene atam sankan kumase ye kuroma anka John Kuma nka agene nkwa e kumase ye tam no deche nkran ye de na ba na ye tena nkran ka so mo asantime mu nyina mo ye nkurasefo a mo mududu na mo bofu mompre impuntio mrefie ye owadwa kebe no odidi asantefo atam asem no nanka Kuma asantime mu enya kurase a anka atam John Kuma to ambulance say de ne bankran de na won kran ti de John Kuma bankran because you see hospital papa bi won kran aban na siye hospital papa na aban bi esibi wo sewia esibi wo afare adan ne nyina so ma aban ne nye ende modehye ba ko obeboa modehye ba ko wewu ti sa ponche yetete wo enhaye na nkwasiafo bi say ye press conference ye Ashanti Democratic de moa we got Kevin the asante what asante bi onim nyanse bi asre say abrantie asema de bi pese e kana no ne ntumi ken abrantie ken asante bi onim nyanse bi abom nsem opa to ma ba omi o afa me they say mopa mummo de wuro election day munyina mo kosa line na mo to ma ba obi I don't care na yaseme na mo hwehye me wo na wo hwehye wo asantini businessman bi o wo sika bi onim nyanse bi opemasem ehiafo no no time say ehiafo de jimi ono he has nothing to lose sikeni na why investment no ono ne pemasem because opese aban sesa na ne nyoma koyie esikafo na omo ye dwuma papa no a sebio omo na omo hwe dipa no obi ani wo time omo nyina pemasem ehiafo ajimifo no omo se kokko no omo no time because they don't have anything in their name omo ne ajapade bi ada ho no kura no de ne nyina tena kuro ba akum na yare ka obi wa ha e kire ye tam ne de kwa ansa na wonyankwa na oda ho ti saa bebi ni ka se aban na oteso no e boa wo edo wagimi ye nyina ti kuro ba akum yare ka obi wa ha e kire tam ne de ba ha abra ye nyina aha ne ha ye nyina tua to ba ako adenti na wo de won pere se adekoro na e wa ha na ade bi etam kofo ba ha mo ba ayaresabia no e be ya ayaresa no ye nya bi wo ho wo so won ti ase medidi watem. Now there's one jandam we need to kill gigim MPP4 are desperate. Yes sorry na omuni message o omuni one message omuni bi MPP and the omakoye e flyer e de abehye eye de ato force na no say o at force na ka say NDC ba power be chicha santiman mu boade panicking wey a fake news kokuma se ko eno no more discuss it, but they know it's fake news. That is the problem. NPP ni message o tom imagine say adada ni atro, this is jandam, this is not true, this is a lie. Fifi Kwete sorry Fifi Kwete engineer baby an can say NDC ba power ye betwetwe asantememu asanteman ye obi dan asanteman e de na NDC jo asanteman ho inte e de na wontumi sell you message na and the more can some atoton kofo so Fifi Kwete has said nothing wrong and he has not said anything like that inte e de na your campaign Ghana your politics no. Why have they reduced the politics to this cheap propaganda and jandam? Fifi Kwete, the General Secretary of the NDC, on grant interview, baby, he's not spoken about Ashanti region. He's not said anything against the Ashanti region. And Ranetia, and the same Ranti being Baba will be a press conference, almost Ashanti democracy with the end. And almost started some more attack Okujata Blakwa. Adentra, Okujata Blakwa say, and this is a tonton a Abaija Pade Emma politicians. Wambo be a ding. The Abeto HS Freddie Blay. Any day, Brian Champon ye kufu adomo omo tonton abanja pade mo ho e na o se yenyina yenka etinbom ne stop it ye nyam maba wa ne mrantie abe press conference say okujato Blakwa ye ahunani nko ade de oye no oye tia santefo ne akamfo moa. This is jandam. Anytime me ka say ende say what Ghana ende na say at this point oda ho ka say obeto ma MPP with all due respect wa dwene na say bi o enwaka because someone gets a catch as a Baomiana would do when you know waka. And so what's study BBR in Ghana politics now? What the end? Oh, there's one thing you will never see NDC Niso Oye. And that is NDC ni Kawatro. Now, or the aji to me, it's never NDC for they don't tolerate that. So what study Obia we free NDC Mubiano, it was because of Omwankasa character. In Sembebra is wo NPP muno. Sa ankemu 1% is wo NDC mu a anka sanko for nya pamo mo free party. I'm telling you, and you people know. En kwasiade is wo NPP mu. Sa kwasiade a no respect for the rule of law, no respect for party structures, people fooling around, they Kennedy Muye, and majority of these people would have been kicked out. Oh, so what study NDC? You cannot do that. All the people who have walked out of the NDC, it is because of their own character. She'll be to say a Alote Jacobs and a character and a pushing out of NDC. And you can see, and you can see clearly Who be to say Koku Anyidoho and a character and the pushing out of the NDC. Now, so what's study? The NPP, every time they use their disgruntled and I said foolish NDC for they did not want to adhere to a party rules and regulations. Sa NDC for now they thought to say without them the party cannot move on. Every day the NPP gets to use those dogs, and I won't study it. It's right now. You will see Obi Koku Anyidoho. You will see Obi Alotoye Corps. What is their plan? Their plan is that let us go and say things about the NDC. Not send a beya MPP, a beya NDC. No, it will not change Ghana's situation. It is how we study all these people are. So we check it. These two parties are. We have discipline. What NDC? Now we have discipline. What NPP? What is NPP? That is a zoo. Now the only thing they have is that Koku Anyidoho can be safe for NDC. Koku for Mahama. It will not change anything because Ghana, Koku Anyidoho one vote and was a Jimmy. Was a Kuniba. Into at the end of the day, no, onokra on that, Nenasia Tatai. Every single Ghanaian has a vote. Obi ko UGMC onimnipo oyeye. Obi ende or calculating sika daho ende any sika na daho 2016. They will think before they vote. In this award study, the MPP always try and find the NDC for now. They could not fit in the NDC because of their character. Party is what I NDC no. O character nyana we Jimmy you cannot fit in. You will walk. Obi ampamo one kasa you will walk out. Na nyama esi MPP no emu 1% kwasi NDC man kasa nkofo ni nyina agejompa agi omo fi party nim. Sankwasi asem ntumi nye no asedun ketie nim. No. Fifi kwete sankwasi asem na MPP for ye no. You cannot do it in that party. John Mahama omon allow my own Jimmy ho sao. You will leave. And that is what a political party should stand for. Into opuro Jimmy say Koku Anyidoho. And all that he can say is that John Mahama nyewe at the end of the day na ba ye baako wase kuniba on fan the ba autopsy but me famba. Inti these are fools that the MPP always want to use. I know what national check it discipline. Party or more discipline. They can manage their people and make sure say they are serving Ghanaians and yes arrogance. Koku Anyidoho atamos nya power. Hwe nkwasiade Koku Anyidoho ye wo Ghana. Small power edema no odi the president chike ke do bie gate. Hwe nkwasiade akwa wo Jimmy we ye wo Ghana. And hwe de waye. Hwe de waye. Why say bolaka. The baby e time. Look at how Koku Anyidoho, look at him now. You see him has a bolaka. The baby e time. Nenimu e time, nenimu kan. Nenasa tatai. What does he do? Ejuma ben oye. Refraf. He has nothing. Only BBI. Into the only way he can survive today is Koka asemboni for Mahama on MPP for $100. That's all. Ejuma benoy. Koku Anyidoho is jobless. Odi atamu se chikeke nkwasiadia oyeye. Koku Anyidoho mwadia oye o Ghana. Jimmy no ho. Okahuna NDC losing 2016 elections. Koku Anyidoho. So you don't have to spend your time on a man who murders his own child. That man is a fool. So why are we even entertaining such a person? But the NPP always find ways to use such people because some of them say they have no message. A bit to me, I convinced the Ghana for. They have no message. This foolish Koku Anyidoho Jimmy way. Ya chini ko sheme anya NDC for adako yi no. Enya kufu na chini shemu. Koku Anyidoho ye arrested no. Enya John Mahama na ko yi no. So you can see say he's pained and into na obre no ejuma be na oye cause ya ubi say oye Atamos Institute why na ho abuofun osoro na for pamphlet bi kuta no de nam. He's jobless. He's a chain smoker, he's a weed smoker. He always wants to satisfy his appetite. It is a way nya pe ne takiba pe or say let me go and attack Mahama MPP before will feed me like a dog. That's what he does. Let's say Koku Anyidoho or you're addicted to cigarette and weed. The moment because Onyejuma he's jobless, very dirty. And Ubusana said Juma Ben Oya or say Oya Atamos Institute. Abuofunu any Atamos Institute. What is Atamos Institute? This thing. Look at this. Look at this. And you want John Mahama to spend his time on such things. Look at this. Look. Why are we? This thing. Such a fluffy being. Such a fluffy animal. And you want the NDC to lose focus and concentrate on such a dirty riffraff. He has no job. And these are people the NPP used. They be because people like this, people like Alote Jacobs, they walked out of the NDC willingly because they could not fit, because of their greedy lifestyle, because of konkonsa beye any anwaya. And where Mahama has gotten to, Koku Anyidoho can go to heaven and come. He will not get there 1%. Baby, I said in Ketiedu, baby, I feel this guy can do whatever he wants to do on earth. He will not get there because Onyanko Pong ambo with sa untumi nyesa. The guy is sick, very sick. And we don't have to be wasting time on such selfish, dirty ingrates. We have better things to think about. So let's concentrate on the bigger picture. Now, Mr. P. Dealing with very important issues. They have no message. So let's forget about this murderers and deal with Koku Anyidoho Oyobia. And this is the time he's having press conferences telling Ghanaians, showing the world the autopsy of Nebano Dieku Neba, Nankinyanya sympathy. This guy, for about 7 years, Obanen Dada, Atano, he lacks sex. Now, the Nina ko I say Koku. Obaben anyway, but Ako bien and myself Bidieka. He lacks it. Koku Anyidoho is he has been tired. Atano, he is tired. And he lacks the brain no moja the baby also ko do na ye adwuma enduru ho because system no choki bebre wada why is zomi. He lacks sex. So he's always bitter. He is always envious of people who can change their engine oil. Koku Anyidoho has become like Latobi Okwashi Trotro. He lacks it. He lacks sex. This guy about 7 years, but only bandada. First, no co a best 7 years, only bandada. Inti atano ama. I saw or bottom or chino so quas or a soft idea bet you say at tables samai, idea bet you also a garden boy or much or winning the onion, a Juma Benoye, Ubusan or so at Tables Institute. Why the oh? Or quite a pamphlet in the Kuta Jimmy Ho Ghana. And this for more opportunity. And this can stay in opposition for 50 years. Koku Anyidoho, you will not get any opportunity. Baby, I'm a permanent or piano. He lacks sex. Koku, I love you. We are on a but you know, you lack it. I can help you out. I have so many girls I can call and say, sort Koku out. Koku, you lack it. Your system is choked. Your brain cells is not receiving. They are not receiving the needed nutrients. So your system has become a nikinika system. You lack sex. Technically, you are a woman. You lack it. Just say, I just say, oh, Koku, I just say, oh, yare. You look at you. Why should a whole political party spend their time on you? Why? If you want we to open a GoFund for you, you better be a GoFundMe. You are sick. You are sick. You have a problem. You see pain. Live in a free world. Be good. Let the people who are doing better than you breathe. Look at you. Look at you. You bet me to Yashawa Mount. La Paz, you benye bi wo ha ma. You benye bi so Kwashiman. You bet say you bet benye bi wo East Legon. Udru papa KFC wana. And you bet benye bi wo sa lane so ama. You bet me so nye bi ewo Ring Road. You bet me so ase nye bi ewo Ura Osu ofe echiro ha. You benye bi wo ha ma. You be bebre bet mama omaba. You lack it. You lack sex. And then I be more arguing than the NCs, you know. I'll go with you. All right, Koku, I'll be back to you, just say something and let me send some girls to you. Obre, I. Atamos we would that the bush are happy. Atamos is at a good place. You are dying. You are dying within because you are foolish. You are dying within. Your life has come to a halt. Tell us who killed your daughter. Tell us. Let us see the autopsy report. All right, thank you very much, Koku. Koku Anyidoho, all right, now let's move forward. Fake news, you know, you're disqualified. Fake news, you know. Now, once my man texted me, I'm Miniabre. There's a S, Mr. P. I didn't be. Eat a food too much. Go to gym too much. Now, let's do some history, kakra, and sanaya and the story now. Now, this is something that majority of Ghanaians, young people need be ensured that if you want to say Tsatsu Tsikata ejelino, Tsatsu Tsikata ejelino, na die ne see and ya to say ato forcing. You say ambulance case be e court. Assembly the try be hu e dey dance here. And this NPP, a political party for the NPP, no, that is what they have been doing. And it's about time the NDC started learning some lessons and also taking serious decisions when it comes to fighting back people who deliberately decide to destroy lives. And the NPP as a political party, that is what they do. Now, Tsatsu Tsikata is a fine gentleman. Now, Tsatsu Tsikata history, you know, and the your young people in Ghana, they hear, oh, Tsatsu, Kufo Jeli Tsatsu Tsikata, NPP for Jeli Tsatsu Tsikata, oh yeah, ding. Now, a day in the sea, Tsatsu Tsikata echo jail. Now, Tsatsu Tsikata, Odimse Obeko jail. Now, Tsatsu Tsikata, as someone in court, ne ya can't Tsatsu Tsikata, was he going to court to go listen to Sesibia, Debia Atofo Semoso Echo Court Nana? These are things we are supposed to remind ourselves. Since Ekufuado, and sorry, Kufo Ejeli Tsatsu Tsikata, and they 16 years, Kufo years, Adiano. Me catch them, Yabapa Kufo 50. Oba power no kuta two agendas. The first one was to make sure say JJ Rawlings with Jelly Rawlings anyeye. The second agenda was to make sure say NDC phobia on Pelmasem he jails them. That is why in the first place Oba he came to set up what we call a commission, reconciliation. Owie and also or fast track court. Two things. Agenda ningina was to put people in jail. People who were innocent about issues. Kufo had an agenda. Not MPP for agenda. Into Oba and also every fast track court. Fast. And you bet now 24 hours near jailing Kufo. It was targeted at some individuals. NLT be a friend of the reconciliation commission. And also not a set it trap. Said the bay and could be because JJ Rollins actually two bone to nan court for JJ Rollins and go to if you say for good and also ANC. But he was able to get away with this one, which is Tsatsu Tsikata, you know, or try or manipulate system as the president or behind the scenes and already or manipulate system no mass system no finding a way to jail Tsatsu Tsikata. Later, Ochano Ebeka say Obema Tsatsu Tsikata dey Obema no a year what's the word? He wanted to pardon him. Or no, or say Ejeli Tsikata we no or we no so person or pardon no or man the presidential pardon. Now story na it is saying, and sometimes we do these things because as some of court is here no. That is the modus operandi of the NPP. Omoba abemu bia. The omodi ye NDC no. And anything I catch NDC say at this point that has to change. That has to change because at least the Kufuor ba omia by way amaye a lot of evidence and reasons why over 20-30 people have to go to jail. First, Rebecca said, oh, there wasn't a clear-cut reason to jail anybody from the NPP. But at least for the past 7 years, what we have witnessed in Ghana, no, every attorney general who serves under John Mahama from 2025 should be able to jail not low-profile NPP4, high-profile NPP4, and we don't have to forget that. It is a who study Tsatsu Tsikata case very well, and the Pepe na 60 years a J Ekufuor a share court and making sure say you jail Tsatsu Tsikata. Now, as someone is saying, moment can history kekrebi, you really rat and the court what actually transpired. The ambulance case we know now you just juxtapose and I say they are toto now if you how the NPP operates and why they are a dangerous political party and every day they make Ghana for obidi bonia or say Chinason is a fact, but we should not use the law against people when we know that some people are not guilty of a crime. There's one thing I always preach on my platform. Say obi di boni wo Ghana. Na say emrano, ye di emrano so na emrano you applying failure. That person needs to pay or has to face the consequences. It's a fact. And I'll not sit on my platform on any day to defend somebody who has been seen committing a crime with facts, proven facts. I will never do that. I will contest anybody who tries to skew the process, who tries to use the process against people because they have power, like what Godfrey Dame and Judge Sewa are doing in the High Court of Ghana today. But before we move into court today, let's take our time and read. Nianko back and say, hey, now when you see ya Irregularities Tsatsu Tsikata 5 years. Now a dear pan or yeah. Now assembly pan assembly because I've heard so many people talk about say ye jeli chachu now or in the head GMPC and a chachu diska. It wasn't about sika chachu die. What was actually the issue? The chachu actually commit a crime. Again, a man judge, any conform agent also say, these are things we need to know as young Ghanaians. A guide, a shape, a mayon who what every political party, the kind of mentality and ideology they have. And then a boy in our decision making, especially when we are choosing leaders, when we are choosing people to lead us, because Enya Obia or Ghana Nibia and the dog Ghana. There are some people who tell you they are Ghanaians, but they don't have Ghana at heart. And that is what we are seeing today. People are suffocating the laws of this country, bending the rules to favor some individuals. The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, Akatre, said we all have the right, to define ourselves as Ghanaians. And some people are not supposed to take the law into their own hands. Maybe especially people who have been given the opportunity to be in position. Nianko read exactly what Chachu did. Now, this is the history. And this platform, you know how it is. We try our best to break it down. Today, June 18, marks exactly 16 years since the wrongful conviction of esteemed legal colossus, Tsatsu Tsikata. Koku Anyidoho say, on this day, in 2008, na Kufuor na president. Na aka dien, aka beye afe. June, na aka beye 6 months, right? Na yakotwaba. So all the two ended the same thing. Akabe 6 months ni yakotwaba. Kufuor to be dia no na akabe 6 months na yakotwaba. The same strategy no use here. So be free power. I would always they find somebody in the NDC or a high profile nobody has some so. I am trying to let you see how the NPP they operate. So I don't quite a in the crowd, I don't have a problem. But I want to show the young ones now, Moshe and Adrino. Hey, Mr. S. And Mr. S, why do you bring this now? I will deal with this later, Mr. S. This one, when I'm in the mood, then I will slot it in, right? All right. Thank you, Mr. S. Now, so check it, time. Kufuor insisted, say, Tsatsu Tsikata. Which video are you talking about? The beer, they have something to give me. Mr. S. Okay, thank you, Mr. S. I'm sorry. I was talking to my team. When did I? Can you hear me now? When did the audio go off? Was it when I started reading Tsatsu Tsikata and I said after? Because I want to read. I want to start over. When did the audio go off, Mr. S? What time did it go off? Was it when I started reading this document or before? Okay, let's just do this. In here, confirmation be from my team before I continue. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's go on this. Inti me be church Tsikata boni so ye boni anasa wanya boni. Now so calculate time akofo insist ye na aban MPP aban ejina so say ye njeli Tsatsu Tsikata na ka be 6 months na kofo efri aban mu na omu hia bibi dia ye campaign sene be yanko mo betime wini campaign no inti omu hwehwe ma no say oh Tsatsu ayawunani ye njeli no tie inti omu ko twe Tsatsu fi GMPC and omu insist say I was say jeli Tsatsu Tsikata. Inti now moment ready the AC yankasa at this point a mark for aban ejina so can say they need to jail Tsatsu Tsikata for 5 years and aka 6 months now ekufuado ne ba omi aban no aden a right now we are faced with another possible judgment against the NDC because the MPP they want to jail at forcing. Now we read the second paragraph. Now this is what it says. It says this. All right, Mr. On this day in 2008, an Accra High Court found Tsatsu Tsikata guilty of willfully causing financial loss to the state, a conviction that shocked the nation and sent ripples through Ghana's legal and political landscape. Almost see, a year 2008 around June, and a year court, Ghana. A year high court a jeli Tsatsu Tsikata say a year Tsatsu Tsikata a cause financial loss to the state. Sata na J.A. Kufuor and a year president. Na J.A. Kufuor na kind of bosumi be insia no free abamu. Now so kind story now. Almost say on that fateful day, Tsikata stood in court without his lawyer, who was absent due to a scheduled interlocutory application. Saturday no mujeli Tsatsu na Tsatsu court say bia ato force court de bia na judge in case read the judgment na case ne krampo no yenkan wie ye dey na Tsatsu court no na ne lawyer mpo nka no ho na ne lawyer edi application fufure chira e fa cha case no ho the same cost premises enti Tsatsu Tsikata under Kufuor's regime no or court as a regular they say ende ato force court no there was no indication because the case had not ended. Nobody had closed their case. The case had not finalized. They were just going to court on a normal day. Now, Tsatsu Tsikata drew court. What happened was that now the court, the lawyer knew. Now, Ura court, they call any. Tsikata intended to inform the court of his lawyer's absence and seek an adjournment, and so there was no anticipation of a judgment. As 2 other critical applications were pending at the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. In the Tsatsu court that day, now Tsatsu lawyers are filing applications mienu bako ewo Supreme Court and bako ewo infa ewo Appeals Court. Sa applications until it is heard, no judge can read a judgment. That is how it works because the applications have been submitted and received by the Appeals Court and the Supreme Court respectively. At that point, Tsatsu went to court to tell the judge, say, this is what has happened. That is why my lawyer is not even with me because an application has been filed. My lawyer is following it up. It's a mabahand, maybe catch said, this is what is going on because read the judgment. There is no way you can read a judgment without my lawyer, and it has never happened. It never happens. A judge can never read a judgment without the accuser's lawyer there. You cannot just go ahead and say, I'm reading a judgment. That's why there's a notification. Yama obia notice say, that way, and intina yebebua sama. Judge or data or dibuasem. Or tiasem in area no sheda. Or see that way, obiamra. That means or package all the parties should be present on this date. So there's no way a judge can read judgment without all the parties knowing. And also when there is an application pending. No, it never happened. But under J.A. Kufuor buying, it was possible. The NPP, the way they work, met my catch for a fact. After forcing, some are me to you. Probabilities of jail at forcing it is high. I'm telling you. You can't wamano. It is part of the NPP party plan. Every time they come to power, they need to use the law against somebody in the NDC. It's a fact. Enti the emu no court no, it is something that has been arranged. A party no, a party no strategy home, and yet ended almost started here way back 16 years ago, and almost started asem no. Now let's move forward. Notably, the Supreme Court was deliberating on the commercial viability of Valley Farms, the cocoa producing company at the heart of Tsikata's charges. In the time of Tsikata Crown Court na one oba normal court no, na Supreme Court no omo da ho ka den application na Tsatsu Tsikata to Supreme Court no through the lawyer. So it means the application was being considered by the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court has thrown out the application in the first place, then you will say you have a case. But that application had been accepted. It has been considered by the Supreme Court. They were contemplating or deliberating on it. So how can a judge go ahead and strike and say, I'm giving judgment today? Abra, when you go to the Supreme Court and the Appeals Court, there are applications pending which is being deliberated upon. Metro NPP no. They are dangerous people. He was accused of unlawful using the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation (GNPC) to guarantee a loan for Valley Farms while serving as its chief executive officer. Asama Akufo Aban editor Tsatsu Tsikata so ne say. Tsatsu Tsikata na o GNPC boss no. Eye company bia ye friend no eye Valley Farms no or the eye GMPC ena ekodi aginemu agi loan ema sa den sa company ana farm no intina eye private company Valley Farms ena Kofo Aban ne say Tsatsu a oye GMPC boss no or the eye GMPC sika kwesia wa say sa farm no enkonkogi some loan bi inti wabɔ Ghana kro no eye no kre ana anya no kre. And in your court, and in Nkrata, any judges, any lawyers, now, despite the pending applications and the incomplete trial, the High Court, in an unexpected turn of event, convicted and sentenced Tsikata to 5 years on each of the 4 counts to be served concurrently. Inti, the charges for the tone so. Saturday na Tsatsu Tsikata area court and a lawyer and so our Supreme Court find a way to make sure say the Supreme Court will hear the application no. The 4 charges na 2 charges no say ba could be also could them 5 years. You can say concurrently that means say jeli Tsatsu Tsikata 4 20 years but ni nyina start pay into obe 7 nyina 5 years. In the Tsatsu Tsikata area court na judge can say she does not care whether his lawyer has filed an application at the Appeals Court or the Supreme Court. She did not even give a date that she was going to give judgment, because if she had put out a date for judgment, and Tsatsu Tsikata's lawyers would be there, and the other party would know, said this is what was going to happen. Even journalists who were covering the story did not even know Tsatsu was going to be jailed that day. But when they entered the court, and one judge can say the 4 the count na yada to so nyina na charges no, all the 4 charges no bua no 4 ni nyina mu na saa asem na yada to charges so no na asem na nkasa aye no kre anansa nya no kre mumendwedwam. Now when you go for it, it says this sudden decision came just days before the Supreme Court was set to rule on the commercial viability of Valley Farms, a ruling that would eventually favor Tsatsu Tsikata. In the time na Assembly Court no, Tsatsu Tsikata lawyers echo file application Supreme Court to say winning BB Assembly because wa High Court. Sa farms na almost say Tsatsu Tsikata akodi the GMPC akosia wawa akoji sika ma farms no. Application na Tsatsu Tsikata lawyers file court Supreme Court say farm no na ehie sika. GMPC am sika bi ankosia wawa. Nkrata ewa say sa farm we Valley Farm we omo gina omo na so na omo angasa etumi di omo dwuma no enie. International Supreme Court no na omo in the process of basically saying say ampa omo giatum na High Court judge no ho na oye dwuma makofo no na omo nim say because the Supreme Court that time na ye legitimate Supreme Court no, that Supreme Court then there were Supreme Court that you could not enter and do business. In 2008, the Supreme Court we had were noble men and women who were basically looking at the issues before they pronounced judgment. But because the Attorney General then, who served under Kufuor, and J.A. Kufuor himself, who had diabolic mind, you know, they used the High Court judge, you know, to, at the end of the day, call judgment. Abrana Supreme Court was about to call the case and say no. South Valley Farms for no, they actually have money, they are operating in this obi ka say Tsatsu Tsikata and the GMPC sika kwesi awamo because they know say Supreme Court net case ni so definitely that Supreme Court no 2008 the no na America and no that 2008 Supreme Court no, they were going to say from the document before them no, in fact Tsatsu Tsikata was not guilty or near bonnet. But the moment Supreme Court the High Court judge cannot jail Tsatsu. And it was in the same week and Supreme Court etnasi. And they knew that the Supreme Court was going to say Tsatsu Tsikata was not guilty because the valley the farms for no Tsatsu did not basically use GMPC sika to guarantee for them. Into what the NPP government then did was to go ahead of the Supreme Court. That is why, even though there was an application at the appeals court and the Supreme Court, you know, the High Court bypassed all these powers because the president then, J.A. Kufuor, had instructed the Attorney General and the judge then to call judgment that day. It's not planned from the government. What you say? Now, young queen in facts, you know. And this is the same thing they are doing today. Yeah, we are about at force in case, you know, So this case, you know, a Kufuor and a static case, you know. Tie. Now the Dan Kufuor and a static case way. A Hona Kufuor obe exposing who control a year the first time they entered Koroka say a year the Tsatsu Tsikata against J.A. Kufuor, a whole Attorney General. When he was filing his case, that is how he filed the case. And a judge Nikache Kufuor say you are dumb. This is Eddie and Tsatsu Tsikata against the states, against Ghana. It is not a fight between Tsatsu and Kufuor. So the judge in court told Kufuor to say, hey, you are dumb. You are not a lawyer. Eh? How did you become an Attorney General? Go back and rectify this problem. In the time, that was when Kufuor should step aside and Kufuor Jogate by. So Jogate was the Attorney General who made sure they scrutinized, they skewed the system to jail Tsatsu Tsikata. Jogate. In Kufuor started the case. But Kufuor, no, early on, Kufuor said no, Kufuor is a criminal. Kufuor does not know the things he's saying, no, and a legitimate lawyer, and that he's making fundamental mistakes in his applications, and that they realized that Kufuor was just there, it was just a hype. Inti the woman who said Kufuor or bonds or filing case said Kufuor against Tsatsu Tsikata. A honor Kufuor who's a dabi. Akwawe sa dede kwa wabon onye lawyer papa quick eno mu ye Kufuor the free on the Jogate be show eno mu change ye no Tsatsu Tsikata against the states and not against Ghana internet because it was the government of Ghana trying to sue Tsatsu Tsikata. Now yanko enim until they bypassed Kufuor making sure say they bypassed the Supreme Court and Appeals Court because they knew the judgment was not going to favor the Attorney General or Kufuor Baino. They knew Tsatsu Tsikata was going to work. So what they did is even though share judgment date, judge the judge who was sitting on that case, Mr. S, give me the name, I just forgot. Judge no case no Kufuor any Attorney General Jogate Muna Kunaivi and omu kole and omu judge case no they are no obian expert judge case. Even the Attorney General later admitted that the Supreme Court at the Supreme Court that Valley Farms was indeed commercially viable. A crucial detail that Tsatsu's lawyer had sought to include in the trial evidence. Until later na omujeli Tsatsu wie no na Jogate begina court so oh omujitum say Valley Farms no in fact omanga so mo musika dada na enye Tsatsu na odi enim ekopa guarantee mo onfa GMPC sika o jeli ni wie no na the Attorney General admit Jogate admit say I but almost didn't jail in a way. because the idea was jail him. Do not follow due process. Make sure you skew the system. That time in 2008, they knew said the Supreme Court was a legitimate court. They knew you could not go to the Supreme Court and do business. They knew as an Attorney General, you cannot go to Supreme Court and shop for judges. So they knew their nonsense, they could not take it to the 2008 Supreme Court. I am talking about the 2008 Supreme Court, not today's Supreme Court. Today's Supreme Court is basically like Malata. You can go and pick the fresh tomato you want, and it will be something sitting there waiting for you. Now, Yanko Enim. Say, the political undertones of the conviction were evident. Sorry, me saying it. Besides, give me the name. On June 18, 2008, Tsatsu Tsikata drove himself to court, expecting another judgment. However, the state was prepared for a different outcome. For the first time since the trial began in 2002, the Attorney General appeared in court with a full retinue of legal officers. Case na started 2002 no. Na de bia Attorney General ba court or the nipa ba kumienu. Na sad day na mo peso mo jeli Tsatsu Tsikata, which is the 18th of June 2008 no. Attorney General came with a lot of members. Obano no, or the lawyers bear 9, or the clerk for bear 4, or the just say ultimately say Attorney General was well prepared. Everybody was like, what is happening today? It's a regular court hearing. It is not like you are coming on a final day and then hearing. But people saw, journalists saw say, hey, today the Attorney General is fully packed, or the cruise in Yinaba. Abemum Penfonia the Adina Diomochi, Attorney General Jogatechi Eba court. But Tsatsu Tsikata had a clear mind. He was thinking, say, his lawyer has filed the application, and that the High Court will listen to the Supreme Court because they know that when there is an application pending, you cannot call judgment. Okay. Judge Ninanidin Henrietta Aban. Later, I see Owusa Kramain. Henrietta Aban. They said the judge, she died, she was back up to Kramain, and said, oh, her death was despicable. Messiah, give me her picture. Now, this is what it says. The courthouse was surrounded by police officers, and the media buzzed with anticipation. Sad day na Tsatsu Tsikata court, regular court no. Attorney General nebano na the police for begu court ho nyina abontene. Kuta tuo. Na say Kofo dinka my instructions say ende Madam Judge jail no. It's not Jogatemo, they were coming to jail Tsatsu Tsikata. Abra Nominu said there was due process ongoing. Nominu said there was an application pending. But Kofo them, they had already made up their mind. They didn't care about the court too. Kofo when a buyer, me saw the two agendas ne buy. One, fast track High Court to jail NDC4, and two, Obe setting up a reconciliation commission to make sure say with Jelly JJ Rollins, I'm Yakuboni two. The two, he failed one, but one day he tried his best to do it. And then make him some children. Now, the only person unaware of the unfolding drama was Tsatsu Tsikata, who was subsequently taken to Nsawam prison without his family's knowledge. Tsatsu Tsikata by regular court, ne family they entered the court alone, no lawyer. The judge says, "Came, I've read my judgment. Jail him, take him to Nsawam." That is how MPP Omubumine. Today be out Tsatsu Tsikata case, you know. This is how it happened. Now, this is what it says. Tsikata's time at Nsawam prison became a well-known chapter in his life story. Despite the harsh conditions, he refused a presidential pardon from President John Ejekun Kufuor, choosing instead to trust in the judicial system's eventual vindication. Yase Kufuor jeli Tsatsu wie no. Tsatsu de oka kire no ho, eka kire Ghana for say ono ondi bone na sebio ondi bone nti obetwen ama Ghana mbra na nkasa aye den asaniti eyi na free eye den eye strategy ene krono ankofo bi hyehye to ne so enti Kufuor say twa no ho ka say eye Tsatsu me pese me ma presidential pardon, me pese me ma amnesty, and Tsatsu ka say you jailed me. You and your Attorney General, you jailed me. You knew I wasn't guilty of any crime. You knew I had not committed any crime, and I am not going to fall for your antics again. Kofo jail in the no, or say, oh, where the jail in the nam kwan papa into me you. Tsatsu Tsikata said, no, let me sit here for the right thing to be done. Na afegana for who se mendi bone na court nankasa and reverse de omoyeye because when I would go to fiase obama me pardon later no catch you say you are I'm an ex-convict, you pardoned me. That means bone ne de da ho da me so. But Tsatsu Tsikata say me mendi bone enti pardon na pardon me no so pardon me I am coming out as somebody who was guilty, but I am not guilty because I come di bone na pardon me dia kamaje. But mean the bonity, me pese emrana wo any jogate any kufuado mo bending no with a high court judge no. You people should make sure say Sam Ranankasa as a reverse no. So Tsatsu Tsikata stood on the principal line because Nkatachu for lema kofo sa Machiavellian tactics kofo wa se anoma okohunu nsuo na wa ba ebusa say na hwan na hunu nsuo no ono na jele Tsatsu Tsikata or side Tsatsu Tsikata ebeti nenim abeje fans e de abeje political numbers. And this was 6 months before eba be wie na aban. This is what the NPP does.